We are in the ground floor of AI and automation, and there's so many companies and people investing, thinking about entering the AI world. And I think they're going to garner a lot of good information from this conversation.
I think that's the real freedom, not more leads,
Right.
but control over when and how you grow. That's what it's all about.
Paola, welcome to the show. I've been looking forward to this one.
Thank
You've
you,
built
Robert.
a system that's changing how B2B founders think about consistent client acquisition. Tell me a little about that.
Basically, what I do is help B2B founders, as you said, build predictable systems so that they don't need to worry about client acquisition anymore. So the idea is that you have a system that works automatically for you and that just brings you people who are interested in your service without you having to do pretty much anything. That's the idea. It's not as simple as it sounds, but that's the idea.
Yeah, so a lot of B2B founders I talk to, and I talk to people every day, are stuck in this feast or famine cycle when it comes to referrals. When a company first starts working with you, what's the aha moment that they realize when they start using your software?
Yes. Honestly, most of the founders we work with, they're stuck in what I call the referral trap. So they think they have a sales process, but they really just have a network. And I'd say the big aha moment is when they realize that predictable lead gen is not just about getting more leads, but about being finally able to plan growth. So when we use our process, which we call InProScan, they suddenly see where the real demand is hiding. So which industries or roles actually respond. And that clarity changes pretty much everything. So suddenly they can forecast revenue, they can delegate outreach, they can just stop waking up every Monday thinking, where will their next client come from? You know, it's like turning the lights on in the market.
Right.
And yeah, that's when they usually say, okay, this can work without me.
Yeah, I love that. It's like flipping a switch on. You're not guessing
Yeah.
anymore, right?
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. The thing I noticed with the research I've done on InPro is you guys make a big promise. 12 qualified meetings in 12 weeks, or they don't pay.
Exactly.
What's the philosophy behind that guarantee?
That guarantee definitely turns heads, and that's on purpose. That's on purpose. The B2B lead gen world is full of fake promises like, we'll get you this, we'll get you visibility, opportunities, but no one takes real responsibility for results. So our thinking was, if we're asking someone to trust us with something as crucial as client acquisition, we should share the risk. And our promise is simple. If we don't deliver the specific outcome we agreed on, you don't pay the full price. And the reason we can do that with confidence is because our system is data-driven from day one. So we don't start just blasting messages. We first identify where the market is active, and then we build micro-targeted campaigns, and then iterate weekly using our own optimization process. And that iteration is what makes hitting that 12 meeting mark consistently realistic.
Oh, right. Was there a moment early on when you realized that this model you guys created really worked?
What do you mean, a breakthrough or something?
Yeah.
No, in my experience, it's never about breakthroughs. It's just about, a long time of trial and error until it's not one single moment where you discover something that just works. It's an accumulation of experiences and things you try, things that work and things that don't work. So you actually make up your own mind of how you should be doing all this process. So it was never for me about a breakthrough, but rather that accumulation of things that I learned over time and that I applied that worked better than what was actually doing before those.
That is so true about businesses across all spectrums. It's not just B2B SaaS, right? It's that trial and error,
I guess
the failures and the successes. You learn from the failures that create more successes. And it's great. AI automation, it's everywhere right now. But what I find interesting about InPro is how you use it to personalize instead of just speed it up. Can you walk me through how you balance automation with the human touch?
Sure. So you're right. AI is a buzzword these days, but we use it in a really practical way, not just for the hype. So the way we do it is, first, we use it to analyze campaign data. And the goal isn't to send more messages faster, but to make every message sound like it was written from human to human. In fact, founders tell us that when they read the messages we send, they sound like they were written by someone who truly understands their market. I believe that's what actually improves conversions, sounding like a human, basically, even though you're using AI.
When your clients finally have predictable lead systems running, what changes first? Their calendar, their mindset, or their strategy? What's your thoughts on that?
Most of the founders I talk to are still the head of sales by default. So every deal depends on their time, on their energy, and on how I'm feeling today. So they run the company and they're the only one bringing in new business. And once they install a system like ours that runs every day and books calls automatically for them, it completely changes. I'd say it changes first their routine, because suddenly they're not chasing, they're even choosing who to talk to. Their calendar fills predictably. They can just devote their time to hiring, product development instead of firefighting. And it's not just a practical thing, but it's also psychological, in the sense that they move from being sales reactive to being sales strategic. So that would be second then. So first it impacts their routine, then it impacts their mentality slash strategy. Once one client told me that for the first time they could spend their mornings improving their product instead of begging people to see it. And I think that's the real freedom, not more leads, but control over when and how you grow. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and I also think it builds confidence too, right? Because you're able to,
Exactly.
like you said, pick and choose, and you're able to be more prepared for, you know,
Yeah.
that sales pitch that you're going into.
Yeah. And in terms of the mindset shift, I think it's going from being in survival mode. So, what I said before, where will my next client come from? You go from there to, I can get as many weekly meetings as I can. I just need to turn up or down the numbers, let's say. So you have a system that gets you the amount of meetings that you need to grow at your desired rate at that stage. It's difficult to get to that point, but that's the whole goal of the process.
Right. I also think urgency plays a big role in success too, right?
Yeah.
The procrastination is a cancer in the business world.
Yeah. It's all about action.
Quick action, I think,
Yes.
plays a big role too. I think it's very important. As a growth partner, what does your day really look like? Are you more a strategist in the room, a motivator, or a part-time therapist for founders?
I'm everything at once. I'm present in at every stage of the process. I've understood over time that it's also my role to, let's say, to accompany founders on what the process takes, because there's times when not everything's ready, and there's times when we try things and they don't work as we'd like to. So we need to be patient with some things about the process. And it's not that we implement one thing today and tomorrow you get the results. It's more of a building process. And yeah, the final goal is what we were talking about before, reaching that point where you know how many people, how many new client opportunities you're getting each week, and turning that up or down based on your needs. But yeah, it's a process. I need to convey that to clients and founders so that they don't create huge expectations or super quick expectations.
Can you share a favorite client story? Maybe one that really surprised you? And I understand if you can't share names. That's fine.
Yeah. One of my favorite examples is a small software company we worked with that sold automation solutions for factories. when they came to us, they were relying completely on referrals and trade fairs. So they had an amazing product, but they had no consistent way to reach new prospects. And that's something that happens to most founders that I meet with. So we started running our scanning process. So basically a deep market scan to identify which segments had real buying intent. That alone gave them a lot of clarity. They realized that 80% or so their past clients came from just two specific sub industries. And then what we did was build messaging tailored to those sub industries, to those niches. And we launched our outreach. So within 3 weeks or so, they were already booking qualified meetings every single week with companies that fit
That's awesome.
their target. Yeah. And the real transformation wasn't just the meetings, it was the fact that they felt that sales weren't random anymore, they were predictable. That's the shift we aim for. So turning something that used to feel unpredictable and stressful into a process that works quietly in the background. I'd say that that's my favorite one.
Yeah, I mean, I think so many founders in the industry, they cast this huge web and they waste a lot of time and resources in areas where they probably shouldn't be, right?
Exactly.
Even with all the data and automation tools, how do you keep outreach feeling genuine? What's the secret to scaling and portraying that human touch? Because I think it's so important with AI that everyone still likes the conversation between human to human, right?
Yeah.
And in today's day and age with AI and the outreach and that automation, it's so important for companies to be able to capitalize on that. But so many people lose that human touch, right? And it's that perfect chord is that relationship between AI and a human being. How do you guys strike that balance?
That's crucial in getting
Yeah,
answers,
it
or
is.
yeah, in getting answers or just being completely ignored. Because I'm pretty sure we all receive email, LinkedIn messages every day. But the thing is, we ignore most of them, but the ones that resonate or that sound different, that sound genuine, and most cold outreach fails because it sounds like automation. Frankly, it's about long intros, generic value propositions, the we help companies like yours type of messages. But the moment you make it sound like one professional reaching out to another, so you're short, you're direct, you're relevant, reply rates go up immediately. So a good test
Right.
I like to use is, if you wouldn't say it in a LinkedIn DM to someone you actually respect, then you shouldn't probably write it in an email. Another small change that helps a lot is to anchor every message in context. So something specific about their role, their company, if they're hiring, if they're using, maybe if you're selling SaaS, so you can see what kind of tech stack they're using, a problem they probably deal with. So basing your messages in real context. It doesn't need to be hyper personalized. It just needs to feel like you did your homework and you investigated something about them, not just picked their profile randomly and sent them a message. So I'd say outreach isn't about volume anymore. It's about relevance at scale. So the AI allows you to be relevant at scale. Otherwise, we'd need to do it manually, one by one. And it's the AI that allows us to send a lot of messages at once that resonate. And when you get that right, everything else opens, replies, meetings, just start improving naturally.
Right. So, what have you learned as you've worked closely with founders that maybe have changed the way you think about growth yourself?
Well, first, I'd say it's a basic, but sometimes there's just common sense things you need to find out on your own. I'd say that growth isn't about quick fixes. It's about long-term thinking. And I mean, I see it day by day with clients. It's basically what I was talking about before. It's not about thinking about one change or thinking about one strategy and implementing it and getting results, but it's just the planning, the trial and error, the long-term thinking. That I think that's what growth is based on, and about adjusting expectations that not everything's
Right.
going to work, or then just if something doesn't work for you, that's not because it doesn't work. Maybe it's just because I don't know how to make it work for me.
Mhm.
So I'd say biggest thing is thinking about growth as a long-term process.
Looking forward, where do you see B2B growth headed over like the next, say, 2 to 3 years? Will the outbound automation that we're all currently
Hmm.
using keep evolving, or are we headed for something totally new? What's your thoughts on
I'd
that?
say it will, in the line of your previous question, I'd say it's shifting from volume to relevance. And I think people will realize that it's not enough anymore to send 10,000 messages, but you need to be relevant and give the other person the feeling that you've done your homework, that you've researched a minimal thing about them, that it's just you speaking to them, even though you're using a tool that automates at scale, or that you've used AI to find out X things about them, but it needs to feel like it's genuine and authentic. And I think that's the biggest shift we're seeing. So from volume to quality and relevance.
Right. Yeah, that's so true. Your company,
Yeah.
what do you guys nail out of the park? What do you do the best versus what part of your business, you might be doing it well, but you feel needs improvement? And what steps are you
Okay.
taking to improve?
Okay. So I'd say that our strongest point is that scanning thing I
Mm-hmm.
explained before. So it's like when you go to the doctor and you have a problem because you have aches and pains and whatever. And it's not just about having the doctor send you a pill, but you want them to really dig deep and see where the root cause is. So we try to be that kind of doctor. So you're not getting clients, okay, but what are you doing currently? Where are you looking? Who are you talking to and how? So we try to investigate and dig deep on those kind of things. And we try to fix the approach. That's first thing. I'd say that's our strongest point. So that we before we even start, we start in the right direction. Our weakest, I'd say, is maybe managing client expectations. No, because
Mm.
I know how the process works because I've done it so many times. But um, sometimes it's difficult to get a founder who's excited, who wants that, maybe that kind of breakthrough moment. It's difficult to shift that energy into, okay, we need to wait and we need to be patient and just stay on top of things to make this really work. But sometimes mm, I don't know, it's about managing those expectations from the beginning, because things are not always that quick or that easy. So
Right.
I guess, yeah, that's my feeling, that it's maybe our weakest point.
Right. Well, I mean, that's a hard thing to manage if you think about it, right? Because you have companies investing in technology, AI, and they think it's like flipping a switch. And reality, it's not. There's a lot that goes into creating the automation. It could take months, right?
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, not months, but
sometimes,
weeks. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Sometimes you
yeah.
have to maybe pitch that quick success so they see it and they're not questioning the whole process, right?
Yeah, I always
so
try to be very transparent before we even start.
right.
Just trying to set those expectations right. But yeah, the whole thing.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell our listeners about InProEcom?
I think we've covered pretty much everything. Just if someone's just interested in seeing how that predictable system could look like for them, I would be open to chatting. But yeah, if they're doing outreach or if they're just trying to get out there and contacting people to acquire new clients, just I'd say try to be, well, first be really aware of the problem you're solving and what kind of person feels that problem most deeply. So think about who you should be addressing, who's feeling the pain of not solving the problem that you solve. And after that, just be genuine and just common sense. Think about the fact that you're writing to another person. So try to do that reverse thinking. If you were the one receiving the very message that you're sending, would that resonate? Would you open that? Would you reply to that? So it's just, stay to the basics, know who you're talking to, and just be genuine. That's what I'd say.
This has been fantastic. I think a lot of our listeners will relate to what you've said and the predictability in the process. I think we're in the ground floor of, we are in the ground floor of AI and automation, and there's so many companies and people investing, thinking about entering the AI world. And I think they're going to garner a lot of good information from this conversation. I thank you for that.
Thank you for having me, Robert.